welcome to Little Mama's Homestead. Today we are going to make my favorite before frost snack or side. It involves okra and shiitake mushrooms. I've got my baskets here, so let's go harvest. I'm really excited this year because we are having a late frost. We are already about 10 days or so past our first frost date, and we still have all these tomatoes on the vine ripening, so I'm really excited about that. So we're gonna stop here and pick some okra in my garden before we go to the woods and get the shiitake mushrooms. So I've got a few okra here. These are all the burgundy kind that I have, and then we're gonna go to my other section of okra and see what we can find there. I've got a few green ones. There's a Clemson spineless as well as a long potted Perkins variety, so we're gonna go check those out. So this is my other okra section. I'm gonna see what we have here to harvest. We're coming down to the very last days of okra harvest, and so it's kind of slowing down, and the okra is it's not looking as good. It's got those bugs all over them. They might be aphids or something. So let's go to the woods where we have the shiitake mushroom logs, and we'll see what kind of a harvest we have there. This is what we got for okra, so it's not a ton. It's some of the red and some green, which I really like having a variety of color. But it's enough to make our favorite late summer, before the frost, early fall snack. So these are our shiitake mushroom logs here. They have some that are good for picking and some that I'll let grow a little bit longer, and I'll show you those up close. So the ones that we see here, they're looking really small. They look almost like little button mushrooms. I'm gonna wait a while and let those open up so they're a little bigger. This one looks like something had a little feast on it. These ones like this are perfect for harvesting. This is the perfect stage, and there's a bunch in that stage, so we'll pick a bunch here. So I'm just going to talk to you guys while I'm harvesting these. I really love having these shiitake mushroom logs. I think it's neat because they're not a plant. They're just something really different to have, and they're very low maintenance. So basically all you need is a mushroom kit, which you can buy from a number of different sources. What this is we just had a friend saw down some oak logs for us from some trees that we had in our woods here, and you can buy a mushroom kit for all different types of mushrooms. We wanted to try shiitake. They grow well in oak, and there's a few other types of wood you can try, but oak is the best. And what you do is the kit comes with this little special piece for your drill, and it allows you to drill these little holes, 6 or 8 inches down the log. And you'll get these little wooden dowels which are inoculated with the shiitake mushroom spores. And you just take them and put them in, and you pound them in with a hammer, and then you cover them with wax. And then you wait about 18 months, and you'll come out one day and it will look like this. Lots of mushrooms all over. So a good location for the mushroom logs is somewhere in the shade. We don't really have a lot of shade out in our yard around our house, so we put them into the woods, which is a great location. It's shaded, it's not a lot of sun. And so if you know anything about fungi, they like shade, they don't like a lot of sun, and they like it wet. And so I'm just gonna start harvesting these, and then we will make our favorite snack. So this is what I've got today for a harvest, and I'm gonna leave the rest and check on them tomorrow. I am gonna water them again and see if they'll grow a little bigger. So these are the ones I'm leaving in here. They're not quite ready yet. These little ones here. There's a log over here that has a lot. It looks like something is munching on a couple of these. Like this one looks like it's actual little bites, which I've never seen before. But all these cute little ones I'll leave in here, and I'll check them again tomorrow. And I'll also water them to make sure that they can grow a little bit. So I really love keeping these shiitake mushroom logs, mainly because they're such low maintenance, and it's always a surprise. You come out to look at them and you never know what you're gonna find, if you're gonna find a whole bunch or what. So I really enjoy keeping them, and I think they're a really unique thing to have on a homestead. And I encourage you to get shiitake mushroom logs. They're great. Another interesting thing that I want to show you is that I believe I have identified turkey tail mushrooms growing right on my mushroom logs, so I didn't have to forage very far to find these. So I just thought, I'm not going to be able to identify those. I'm not like a mushroom expert or anything. But I started doing some research online, and I really do think they are turkey tail mushrooms. And I am going to ask someone I know that will definitely be able to identify them for me. So this is what they look like. You can see how they look like a turkey tail and how they got their name. So I looked up a few things about turkey tails, and I'm gonna grab this one off. And what I found, that they have this velvety texture on the top. That's one sign that it's a true turkey tail mushroom. And obviously you've got the these rings with high contrasting colors, all right? And then another thing is that when you flip them over, they have they're a polypore, so they have these teeny tiny little pores all over the back, and they're also white. So if you flip it over and it has gills, that's the wrong thing. That's not a true turkey tail mushroom. And so I was just really excited when I found these. And the reason I was so excited is because I have an interest in natural medicine, and I had known of the medicinal benefits of turkey tails. I had heard of people using them to help cure their cancer, and I know that like all mushrooms in general are very good for the immune system. Even if you're getting simple button mushrooms or baby bell mushrooms from the grocery store that are cheaper, those are good for your immune system too. So turkey tails are really amazing for your immune system. You can make tea out of them. You can boil them and simmer them in water for like 2 to 3 hours, and then once you have that that mixture, you can blend them into a mushy consistency, and then you can dehydrate them and turn them into a powder and put them in your blender after that. And then, so that's what people do a lot, is they'll take the powder and put it in their coffee or put it in their tea. You'll see at this, these health food stores, they have coffee that has mushrooms in it. So, mushroom coffee, or mushroom tea, it's a really popular thing now. So I was just so excited to find these right in my backyard. I think there were 4 points of identification. So one would be the velvety texture. There's little tiny hairs on the surface. The second thing would be the contrasting colors. And then when you flip it over, the third thing would be the pores. And then the fourth would be that flexibility, I believe. So I'll show you a false turkey tail that I found really close by, which they say often happens. You've got the look-alike growing actually really in close proximity to the real mushroom. So I found these growing on this log, which is right by my my mushroom logs, right here. And as you can see, these, I could see how someone would think they're turkey tails maybe. The colors are not as contrasting. They're kind of harder. And if you can look underneath, they have gills. So that's definitely not a true turkey tail. So I've got my harvest, I've got my okra, and I've got my shiitake mushrooms, and we're going to go in and make my favorite little snack from the garden, fresh from the garden. So here we are in my kitchen, and we're going to take our shiitake mushrooms and our okra and just give it a quick rinse. The nice thing about shiitake mushrooms is that they are not full of dirt. Since they grow on logs, they're pretty clean. If you get the fresh button mushrooms or the baby bell mushrooms from the store, they're covered in dirt and they're a little harder to clean. Okay, so we're done with our shiitakes and moving on to the okra. These burgundy okra are pretty long, but they're still tender, so don't worry a bit. These are full of buggies, so I'm not going to let that go in the pan. Okay, so we've got our okra and shiitakes all rinsed up, and we're going to saute them. So I've got a non-stick ceramic pan here, and I'm going to turn my burner on medium-low, and then I'm going to start really actually harder than I thought, so we're not going to include that one. This one is nice and tender. I'm going to put just a tiny bit of coconut oil in my pan. Just a teeny little bit right in the middle. And I'm going to add this really tough okra and the stems to my compost bowl here, as you can see. This one is pretty tender even though it's really long. So that's good. I'm not sure, this one might be a little, I tend to find in the late summer that some of produce gets really curly looking. This also happened to my string eggplants. They were pretty straight until multiple weeks of 90 degrees came, and then they just kind of curled up. So let me know if that happens in your garden. Be interested. Now with these shiitakes, I find that the stems are really rubbery, so I like to cut those out. So I'll just cut them in little strips like this and let them fry that way. So I kind of cut them like that, and I don't use the stem because it's really rubbery, I find, and I don't like that texture. So an interesting thing about the shiitake mushroom logs is that we got 3 different types. One was a cold weather, one was a hot weather, and one was an intermediate weather. And so I don't actually know if there's a temperature range for the different types, but where we are in North Carolina, in Zone 7B, we at different times of the year will get mushrooms from each of those. So for us, we're not in the mountains here. We don't always get snow. We certainly don't stay frozen all winter. Pretty mild winter. Don't even get snow. It's very different from where I grew up in Wisconsin, where in November it freezes and stays solidly frozen until March or April. You start thawing out. And then by the first week of June, we could start planting in the ground. That's what I am used to from where I grew up. So I always like to compare Wisconsin to North Carolina. It's just fun to see all the differences and the different ways that things grow here. I can pretty much garden year-round here, which I certainly could never do in Wisconsin. We never did. Growing up, we had a pretty big garden, I would say, but it was a shorter growing season. And we certainly didn't grow things like okra and sweet potatoes. They just don't grow well there. Because it's a short season, it doesn't get as hot. And it's here I find it's really humid and hot to me. You'll get weeks and weeks of 90 degrees, humid, miserable weather. And then I like to say that right now we kind of have a Wisconsin summer going on in North Carolina. That's what I call the fall here because it's, it can get up to 70s and 80s during the day, but at night it cools down. That's a Wisconsin summer. That's what it's like all summer there. So they're both good, just different weather. It's great. I love it. So what I'm gonna do is add a little bit of salt, or a lot. I'm a salty person. I like a lot of salt. Salt and pepper. I have not yet tried adding fresh garlic to this. That would be a great idea. I think I'll do it. I'll add 1 clove. A little trick, if you are not used to using fresh garlic, you're not going to sit here and try to peel it. That's going to take forever and frustrate you. What you're going to do is take the part of your knife here and hit it like that. And then what you have is a crushed clove of garlic, and you're just going to easily peel the peel in 1 second, and then you can chop it up. I'm going to wait to put this in until the end. I probably let this saute for like 15 minutes, honestly. It sounds like a lot, but that's what I do. I tend to like things more browned and more crispy, and I find that if I eat the shiitakes less cooked, they're kind of slimy, squishy, rubbery, and I don't like that. So I cook them until they are nice and browned, crispy, and I really like that texture a lot better. So I'm going to show you a close-up. So if you are not used to okra, or you've tried okra and you just don't like the mucinogenic property that it has, I tend to find that in this dish that kind of goes away and I don't notice it, although it doesn't really bother me in the first place. I really love okra, and so if you're having trouble with the mucusy sliminess of it, I would give this a try. So I've let this saute for, I don't know, 10 minutes or so, until you start to get these browned bits like this on this one. And I'm gonna go ahead and add in my garlic, my fresh cut garlic. And I'm gonna let that saute for a minute and consider it done. I'm getting a lot of stuck on bits. So what I like to do is add a teeny bit of water from my tea kettle so that I don't have to add more oil. That'll help get up some of those bits. What I have made for my family tonight to eat for dinner is a vegan macaroni and cheese. So it's a butternut mac and cheese. And what I'm gonna do is add hot sauce, and I'm gonna add this right on top. So I've got my butternut mac and cheese in my little bowl, and I really like this hot sauce. It's something I got at Whole Foods, and it has really good ingredients, so that's why I like it. So we're gonna put some of that on. And I'm gonna turn my burner off and consider this done. And I'm gonna add some of this right on top of my mac as a little bit of a garnish. And I'm gonna give this a try. This is really good. I think what would also be really good on top is some fresh parsley from the garden. That's what would be really good. So, thanks for coming with me today and harvesting our okra and mushrooms, making our topping. If you are interested in the butternut mac and cheese, let me know. I can get you the recipe. And thanks for stopping by. We'll see you next time. Bye.